Hey, any of you guys ever start a YouTube channel and then like have some major tragic event happen in your life and then get completely sidetracked and derailed for months on end and then try to pick back up and not know where to start? No? Just me? Okay, well, that's where we're at. And you know what? I'm ready to get back into it. So literally just woke up like this situation. It's time. Hey, hi. If you have subscribed while I've been on a couple of months hiatus, thank you for subscribing to my channel. My name is Ingrid, and I've been gone for a couple months because, thank God for editing. I have been gone for a couple of months because my mom died, and quite honestly, none of this felt very important for a while, and grief does really weird things to a person. Your interests before you lost your person are no longer everything that you cared about before you lost your person. Okay, everything changes. All right, suffice to say, everything changes. So I am ready. It's taken a while, and I just think I'm gonna start by coming back into the whole YouTube thing by dipping my toes in the water with a get ready with me video. So I'm not gonna talk a whole lot about the products that I'm using. I'm going to try to just kind of talk about what's been going on. I'm gonna show you what I'm using, but I'm just gonna kind of catch up to speed with what's been going on. So I'm gonna start, I've already moisturized my skin. I'm gonna start with the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I don't know what the deal is with this thing, but I can't not use it. I've tried so many other primers, but this is just such a great one, and I go back to it a lot. It feels nice going on the skin, and I think it's pretty good for almost any skin type, so there's that. I just take a little bit, especially in the summer months like it is right now. It's June when I'm filming this. I don't want a whole lot of layers on my skin when it's so warm out, and I just make sure to kind of get it spread evenly over the areas where I have the most wear and tear throughout the day, which is like my forehead and the T-zone. I'm sure it's the same for pretty much everybody. And did you know that you can use face primer on your eyes too? You don't have to get a separate eye primer unless you're doing a real detailed eyeshadow look, which I don't do too often. Then I would recommend an eyeshadow primer, but you don't have to get a separate eye primer for just like a regular day-to-day simple makeup routine, okay? Okay. I recently went on vacation and got some sun, which is fading, but you can see the difference in my normal skin tone versus what I got. And I have been using this combination since because it allows me to adjust the shade as the tan was darker and as it fades. So this is the Beauty Counter Dew Skin Tinted Moisturizer, and this one, let me check what shade this is in. Medium. And I believe they've changed their shade names, so this is something else now, but their website says what it used to be referred to as. If you like a tinted moisturizer, this is a really good one. It's expensive though, so this is another good way to justify getting something like this, because you just use a little bit of it and then you mix it with something else and you're not using as much as you could, and you can make it last longer. I mean, and then I mix it with some of Revlon's new Illuminance foundation. Illuminance, I don't know, whatever. Stop trying to be fancy, Revlon. I didn't like this on its own. Plus, it's way too light for me right now, so I thought, let me mix it with this. So you'll see when I mix these two colors, and I need to put another pump with it because the tan is fading, and it's gonna be a really good shade match for me. And then I add, because I'm bougie and extra, a little bit of the Farsali, and this is the rose gold elixir. I don't know, it just gives a nice feel to the foundation. If you're not familiar with Farsali elixirs, they're over the top. See that? It just drops this beautiful little bit of magic into it. And I just take it and mix it together on the back of my hand. And only mix a little bit first, and then see if you like the way it looks on your skin, just a little on your cheek. If you're happy with it, cool. If not, mix a couple of different products. So that's gonna be a pretty good shade match for me right now, promise. What am I using to mix it with? I don't know. This is some random, I think this is some sort of manicure tool thing. I got it out of one of my mother's drawers when I was going through her stuff. So I'm just gonna take a little, dab it throughout my face, and then that's about all I'm gonna use initially, and then I'll go back in after I get this spread around and add more where I think I need more. But this combination just, I don't know what it is. It just looks really nice together. It gives me a little more coverage than just the tinted moisturizer would on its own. That tinted moisturizer is too dark for me right now. It was even too dark for me when I initially tanned on vacation. So I ended up just putting it aside and using it when I came home because I knew I was going to mix it with something lighter. You can use your stuff like that. Like, go be a scientist. Mix your stuff. I be mixing stuff all the time. I have an amazing trick for you for when you get sunburns. I don't like the feel of aloe on my skin, like just, you know, aloe you get at the store. I feel like it's sticky. Do you feel like that too? And if so, take 1 pump of your aloe and 1 pump of regular lotion. Mix it together and rub it in. I'm telling you, try that combination and then come back to this video and tell me what you think down below, because it is unbelievably cooling and satisfying on a sunburn, because you need some extra love in there. Like, regular lotion is not enough. Aloe is wonderful, but if you're like me and you don't like the way it makes your skin feel afterwards, that is the way to do it. All right, so I didn't want to talk too much about product. Kind of want to talk about what's going on. Last summer, my mom, just one of the most wonderful people in the world, if not the most wonderful person, you know what, no, yes, the most wonderful person in the world, one of my very best friends, was diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4, and it had already metastasized to her liver. It was basically a death sentence, and kind of came out of the blue. It was very much unexpected. She was never a smoker, tried chemo, she tried several different things, she gave it a good fight, and eventually it just got to the point where it was too much. Nothing was going to help. And she was done. She was done fighting, done trying, and tried to have the last couple of months of her life be something that she could enjoy, because obviously chemo makes you incredibly sick. Isn't that strange? Medicine makes you more sick. So she had about 1 good month, and when I say good, it wasn't really all that good. It was better than being on chemo. Family started coming into town to say goodbye. Man, that's a surreal experience. Sitting there watching that. Her siblings, sucks. It just really sucks. So I'm just getting the foundation out of my eyebrows because that could affect your color later. I'm taking the Sephora Bright Future Gel, I think it says gel serum or gel cream, serum, whatever, concealer. Mine's in the shade Buttercream. It's way too light for me right now, but it actually, by using too light of a concealer, kind of brightens things up even a little bit more. And I dab it under the dark circles. If you put it right up underneath your lash line or right into the dark circles, it does, it kind of settles in a little bit easier. I learned this from a makeup artist, and she was right. So I just kind of dab that in, take it just a little bit into the rest of the eye area. Do you see the difference between how this side is brightened and this one is still kind of not brightened? I'm focusing on the majority of the product being in that ridge where the darkness is. And then what's left on that damp sponge that I used, same damp sponge for my foundation, by the way, brightened. Now I'm gonna take the same side of that sponge. This is just a Wet n Wild sponge. It's wonderful. This is the side that I use that I put my foundation with, and I'm just gonna go right along the edge where I applied that concealer, just to kind of seamlessly blend any sort of noticeable edges, which there really aren't any. I'm not using a whole lot of product. Then I'm gonna take my Kosas powder. This is the Cloud Set in the shade Feathery to set it. Okay, so her last month, family's coming in town, saying their goodbyes. I still had to work, but I tried to get to be there as much as possible. What a sad experience. What a sad, horrible time to go through. And really, until you're in it, you don't get it until you're experiencing it. And that's just the way it is. What am I trying to say? Sorry, I'm not talking about what I'm using. This is the Scott Barnes Contour Palette. Best purchase I think I've ever made as far as makeup goes, because you could even use it as eyeshadow. And you would be amazed going through here and trying all the different colors. I'm using the shade Diced. Just a tiny little bit, and look at that. You would be amazed at the shades you wouldn't think would look good on you that actually do. A little bit down here, kind of sculpt out my jawline. I'm not trying to have this be like a super long video, but I can't get my thoughts together, which is also grief. Anyway, so ultimately that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing and dealing with, and it sucked. I don't wish that on anybody, but the thing is, everybody's gonna have to go through it. So just know that when that time comes for you, or if it's already come for you and you've dealt with that, I feel you. And there's another YouTuber who I recently found and started to follow literally because of this palette, because I was trying to learn about how to use it. And the universe put her channel in front of me because she was going through the same thing but with her father, and I'm going to list her somewhere on here and link her channel if I can down below. And she was not only good in talking about that Scott Barnes palette and how to use it, so highly recommend that, but she talks a lot as well about grief and moving forward through that process, and how it can just kind of like, some days are good and some days are bad, and what that's like. I don't think that I can bring that level of consistent content about the death process and that experience and going through all of that with my mom to my channel, but she does. So if you want to see more about that, please go check her out. She's really great. So moving forward with the makeup, this is the Natasha Denona Glam palette and Glam face palette. It's really great for everything except this blush. This blush is garbage. It just doesn't, it's like barely puts any color on. And I'm going into the highlight right now because I like to do a little bit of the highlight first. And you're like, wait, that's backwards, you're doing it wrong. No, there's plenty of people who do just a little highlight first, and I'm just going in with my finger. Look how pretty. And then I'll put the blush on top of that, and it just kind of is a natural, subtle highlight. Then it just kind of peeks through. But the blush just doesn't show up. It's like a cream to powder blush, and I've tried it in several different ways, and it doesn't show up. This is my Buxom Sechelles. It's my favorite. It's so natural looking. It just gives this beautiful, soft, flushed look. It's not too in your face, which, unless I'm got like a night out somewhere, I'm not interested in a whole lot of blushes. My mother always used to say you could use more blush. All right, brows. This is something that I recently picked up, I think at a, if you live in Myrtle Beach or near North Myrtle Beach, you guys have the most amazing TJ Maxx I think I've ever been to. This I picked up there. It is a Too-Faced super fine brow detailer. This one is the shade Taupe, just a regular, like a microfine brow pencil. Almost didn't get it, but I'm very glad I did. It's just a real quick swipe it on, simple pencil. We're just gonna buzz through this because it's just a brow pencil to view. Okay, so I'm just using this is the NYX Thick It Stick It. Have a whole video on just this. It is really good. One of my favorite brow products, and when it first came out, I completely poo-pooed it. I like to go over this Too Faced product with it. Just these two things alone are pretty much my go-to brow combo these days. Okay, so it's gonna be a simple eye look today, and remember how I said you can use this Scott Barnes palette for shadow? I'm going in with the lightest color here. It is Carve, sorry. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of that over the whole lid, and that way it gives me a nice, solid, simple base. because I'm going to use the shadows that are in that Natasha Glam palette. And there's no matte light color in there for me. Because I'm going to use, okay, really? Because the Natasha palette does not have a light enough color that I want for kind of like the base color here. So now I'm going to go in with that same brush. And I'm going to take this shade, which looks really like orangey and peachy. And I think it's, what is it? The thing about the Natasha palette that I forget is that these are called Inner Corner Transition Crease Smoke. It's like, hey stupid, this is how you do your eyeshadow. And I forget that they aren't named with names in here. So this is literally the transition color, and I'm just using it in the crease though. Bringing it down a little bit on the outer V. Same thing on this side. And then I'm dipping back into that Carve shade in the Scott Barnes palette and softening the top edge of that. I don't want a harsh line there. Then I am going to take the one that says Crease shade, same brush, putting a good amount of that on the edge of the eyelid. And then just kind of swirling that up into the actual crease. Don't worry, we're gonna blend it out in a minute. These shadows are really nice. They're easy to work with, even just your fingertips too, which I'm actually gonna do here for the dark one at the end. I'm gonna put some of that crease color on the tip of the brush to make sure I get plenty into the actual crease. Now I'm gonna switch over to a different brush. Oops. Gosh, who washes brushes around here? Did you guys just hear my stomach growl? All right, and we're gonna take that rounded edge brush and work on what we just put into the crease and bringing it up in a soft blend. Okay, and now I'm gonna take my pinky. I'm gonna dip right into that Carve again because I want that light color refreshed here on the inner corner. Not the inner corner of my eye. I don't really do that stuff. I'm talking like the inner corner of the lid. If you find that that doesn't give you enough of a refresh, you can pull out a lighter shadow if you want more of a satisfying contrast, which I actually might do. What we're gonna do is go into the shade called Smoke. That's the dark one on the end. Just getting a little bit on my pinky. It doesn't come up as dark on camera as it actually is. And I'm just dabbing it here on that really, like the last quarter of the eyelid, that outer corner. And then I'm taking that rounded brush again, and I'm just gonna kind of spread that out just a little bit towards the inner part of the lid and up into that crease. I need a little more on there. Although honestly, just a little bit of dabbing with the just a little bit of dabbing with the pinky finger of the application itself really does a nice job of just smoking it out. It's literally called Smoke. All right, and just for a little bit more of that contrast, like I just said, Wet n Wild Nude Awakening. This is a good one. Top right corner, pinky finger again. Little dab will do ya. And then brush it out with another finger. Brush it out towards the middle. You have a nice transition of shades, kind of an ombre effect. If I had a fancier camera, you'd be able to see that. Then we're gonna go back in and get just a little bit of sparkle in there with one of the Natasha ones. This is the one labeled Inner Corner. And just lightly dabbing that over what I just did with the lighter shade in that inner corner area. Just a tiny little bit. Like this will last you the rest of your life. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go in with one of my go-tos. This is the Covergirl Exhibitionist Felt Liquid Liner. These are the best. Love these eyeliners. Between this and the Physician Formula, I am set for life as long as neither of them quit making it. This is in the brown shade, and I just run a very thin line. These are so quick, and the reason I love them is there's really not much for transfer down to your lower lash line, your inner water line, anything. So I just do like a really simple line along the top of my lashes. I very rarely do anything on the lower lash line, mainly because I have watery eyes and it doesn't last very long. So it's just simpler for me not to mess. And honestly, I've grown to like that look over the years anyway. Still jamming on that L'Oreal Telescopic Lift mascara. I just love it. Mine in a different shade. Is this just black? Like, what are we doing here? I think it's just black. I don't think they do a brown shade in this one. My husband has chosen a wonderful time to do some power washing outside of the house, so if you hear that in the background, that's what's going on. I feel bad for YouTubers when they think they need to apologize for background noises. I'm like, dude, that's life. Oh, is life happening outside your room? That's okay. I'm sorry you feel like you need to say sorry. Stop. It's fine. And if you're one of these people who complains because you hear life happening, calm down. I wonder what my hair is gonna look like today when I take it down. So in the time that it has been since I've filmed, I have accumulated a massive amount of empties. So if you like the empties videos, oh boy, do you have a big one coming up. I always run through my lashes with my lash comb afterwards. 99% of the time do this with no matter what mascara I use, just because it makes such a difference. If you aren't using a lash comb in your routine, no reason not to. They're like 99 cents online anymore. I got my lip. This is the Huda Booty. This is from the folks. We're gonna put the lipstick down for a minute and do a little setting spray because apparently I need to wake up. This is, how is nobody talking about this? Because I absolutely love this. Neutrogena Radiant Setting Spray. It is, I don't know what you're doing, Neutrogena, but intermittently you're doing really well. Not across the table, but this one is good. Mister is nice. Fragrance is nice, and it leaves such a great finish. Powder foundation, liquid foundation, it doesn't matter. It leaves a great finish. I don't feel like I'm a fair example of that right now, even because my skin is kind of jacked because it's peeling a little from being on vacation and going to the beach and stuff like that. Anyway, so, okay, the lipstick. This is from Huda Beauty's The Nudes collection. Absolute favorite lipstick. I think I've mentioned it before, but this is the one that I was able to find that I feel like is a dupe for Too Faced Sex on the Peach, and it is such a pretty simple pink. And I'm telling you, I buy these like 2 at a time. If they're on sale, look out. Like, I'm going, because phenomenal. I don't use a lip liner either. This is that lipstick that you can put on in the car without looking in the mirror and you know it's gonna look good. And if you want a little extra oomph, put a gloss on over it, but you really don't need it. It's got a creamy finish. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. All right, let's see what our hair is doing. Let's see. Do the whole flip thing here. Oh boy, here we go. Where are we at? This is scary to do with live on camera. Ooh. What? Why is that scary? Because like stuff like this is what happens. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's, I guess this is what we're working with. This is what we're doing. This guy's, do you see this? Just randomly. Okay. It's pointing at the camera, so you probably don't even see it, but it's like, all right, you gotta let that go. You guys, here's the thing. There it goes. I'm just gonna say, I know it has been a minute, and I just really appreciate that some of you have stuck around, and there's even new people that have subscribed to me over the last couple of months that I've needed to cut myself off from all of this because I didn't have the wherewithal to think about something like makeup, trying new things, editing a video. The mental energy that goes into doing this kind of stuff, even though it's fun and it's a hobby for me, it's not a full-time job. If it was, I wouldn't have been able to pay the rent the last couple of months. I just didn't have it. A lot of things went to the wayside, a lot. And I'm ready to start putting things back where they need to be, like this chunk of wave there. Thank you, okay, God. So thank you for waiting for me and being good people, because you shouldn't have to say thanks to somebody for, you know, being patient while they go through the worst grieving experience of their life. But thanks anyway for doing that. I'm gonna say it. So let's get back into all of this, and please subscribe if you know. I'm glad to be back, and let's get into some makeup and whatnot together again. Please hit the little bell so YouTube knows that you want to be alerted, alarmed even, really, when I upload, which I will try to do as consistently, it's not going to be consistent, as regularly as I possibly can manage to. Thank you again. Like, stop saying thank you. Thank you for being good people. Thank you for being decent. Like, it's only still here because it's fake. Otherwise, I'd have killed it. See you in the next one. Bye.